Lord Jesus, help us to prepare for your coming with words and actions that show kindness where it's needed. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you all so much for being here. I know you're going to be looking because you're already doing some deeds of kindness, aren't you?
Pray with me, please. Speak to us, Lord. Speak to us in the waiting, the watching, the hoping, the longing, the sorrow, the sighing, the rejoicing. Speak to us by your word in these Advent days and walk with us until the day of your coming. Amen. Our Hebrew scripture this morning is Isaiah chapter 52, verses 7 through 9. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger who announces peace, who brings good news, who announces salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Listen, your sentinels lift up their voices. Together they sing for joy, for in plain sight they see the return of the Lord to Zion. Break forth together into singing, you ruins of Jerusalem, for the Lord has comforted his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Today we begin the season of Advent, a time when we prepare our hearts and our lives for the coming of Christ. And just as Advent sets the stage for what's to come at Christmas, so today's passage sets the stage for what's to come in the Gospel of Luke. Only the Gospel of Luke begins with the birth stories of John the Baptist and Jesus. And these birth stories will prepare us for the rest of the story. Luke begins with John, the one who will prepare the way. We're going to turn today to Luke 1, 5 to 25. You can find that on page 933 of your Pew Bible. Listen to God's holy word. In the days of King Herod of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah who belonged to the priestly order of Abijah. His wife was a descendant of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. Both of them were righteous before God, living blamelessly according to all the commandments and regulations of the Lord. But they had no children, because Elizabeth was barren, and both were getting on in years. Once when he was serving as priest before God and his section was on duty, Zechariah was chosen by lot according to the custom of the priesthood to enter the sanctuary of the Lord and offer incense. Now at the time of the incense offering, the whole assembly of the people was praying outside. Then there appeared to Zechariah an angel of the Lord standing at the right side of the altar of incense. When Zechariah saw him, he was terrified, and fear overwhelmed him. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you will name him John. You will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth, for he will be great in the sight of the Lord. He must never drink wine or strong drink. Even before his birth, he will be filled with the Holy Spirit. He will turn many of the people of Israel to the Lord their God. With the spirit and power of Elijah, he will go before him to turn the hearts of parents to their children and the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord." Zechariah said to the angel, "How will I know that this is so? For I am an old man, and my wife is getting on in years." The angel replied, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and bring you this good news. But now, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled in their time, you will become mute, unable to speak, until the day these things occur." Meanwhile, the people were waiting for Zechariah and wondered at his delay in the sanctuary. When he did come out, he could not speak to them, and they realized that he had seen a vision in the sanctuary. He kept motioning to them and remained unable to speak. When his time of service was ended, he went to his home. After those days, his wife Elizabeth conceived, and for 5 months she remained in seclusion. She said, "This is what the Lord has done for me, when he looked favorably upon me and took away the disgrace I have endured among the people." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Our story begins in an unexpected way when a child is promised to an old and barren couple. Except that such a promise has a ring of familiarity to it. We have come to recognize God's covenant and God's promises coming in ways we would not expect. This faithful couple had been waiting a long time for a child. The people of God had been waiting a long time for the Messiah. And this child, John, would be the one to prepare the way. Zechariah is a priest, and he and his wife Elizabeth are both descendants of Aaron. We're told that they're upright and blameless. They have been faithful. In the midst of the pain and disappointment of childlessness, they have been faithful. It's a very painful thing for a couple to struggle with infertility. Perhaps you struggled with this yourself, or you've watched those you love struggle, as I have. In their culture, this pain was only magnified because not being able to have children meant the inability to carry on the family name, to continue God's covenant with Israel, or to have someone care for you in your old age. Childlessness was regarded as tragedy, as discouragement. There are longings that have been unfulfilled for so long that your heart grows sick, and it's hard to keep on praying. Sometimes it seems impossible. There are losses and sorrows that simply overwhelm. In our own lives, in the lives of those we love, in the pain of the world around us. And in such places, we too know barrenness. A condition of our souls, a condition of our being, where the ground is dry and hard and little seems to grow, and hope is faint and difficult, sometimes impossible to find. Where the waiting seems to have no end, barrenness. It's a desolate word, and it fits. And these hard places, these barren places, these places of long waiting, great longing, disappointment, and suffering, these hurts, these needs, these places, these are why Jesus came. Advent is the story of God breaking in to the barren places.